All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start this lesson by giving all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakwadash. Double honors, as always, to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who taught us all this truth and who also rule and teach well. And Shalom to Allah Achim and the truth and sincerity, starting with the 144,000 and the 1/3 of the nation of Israel, which we are fighting to be a part of. This is your brother Chabar Yakal coming back, Lord willing, with another quick and edifying lesson. And this lesson will be going into 3 of the 12 tribes of Israel, which I should have already had it pulled up. Hold up. Should have already had it pulled up. And excuse the folly if you see any. But these are the 12 tribes of Israel, all right? And you can read them for yourself. On the left, you got, our ancient nationality, and then on the right, you got our modern day, proverbs and bywords. Essentially another name that's not what the Lord gave us. All right? These so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. That's why we say so-called, because we were called something that we're not. All right, that's why I want to say it's in Zephaniah, but it says, in the land, in the place where it was said, ye are not my people, there shall it be said, ye are the sons of the living God. So that's America, which is Babylon the Great in the scriptures. Excuse me, but this lesson will be going into these 3 tribes in particular. And I have a few, pieces of information and a few precepts. But this is really just going to be a basic. I'm not going to go super deep. I'm not going to dive super, I'm just going to keep it surface level, So without further ado, I'm going to start in Ezekiel 37. And by the way, I had it. It took me multiple times to do this lesson. Satan was really hindering me from doing this lesson. But Lord willing, I'm able to, bring out this information the right way, correctly, and Lord willing, it gets uploaded, for the elect's sake. This is Ezekiel 37 and verse 15. It says, the word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah and for the children of Israel, his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel, his companions. So basically, to just give a brief history of what happened to the nation of Israel after King Solomon, after he died, the kingdom was split into 2 kingdoms. The southern kingdom, which that's Judah, when it says for Judah and for the children of Israel, Judah is talking about Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. That's the southern kingdom. As you can see, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. And then it's split into also the northern kingdom, which is Simeon all the way down to Issachar, which would be known today as the so-called Hispanics and Native Indian tribes. All right. So the kingdom was split. So when Ezekiel wrote that there's no historical account of Ezekiel doing this, what's written right here. This is for the times that we're living in right now. Because when you look up that word stick, it's Itazah, I believe, Itazah, and it says tree, wood, timbers, stock, plank, and that's pretty much it. Plank. That's the main point. When you look that up, it says board. All right, long, thin, flat piece of timber, especially used in building and flooring. All right, there you go. So that's the 12 tribe sign. That's why when we're out there teaching, we got a wooden plank with these tribes on it. That's what he was talking about when he said, take a stick and then, write upon it for Judah, for the children of Israel. That's what that writing is, those tribes, and who they are today. All right. Which I also say this is the standard, and to quote, I believe it was Elder High Priest Abba Bivens. I heard one of the elders say it before, but he said that's the hook, the 12 tribe sign. But also, there's our people have been scattered among the whole, planet Earth. So you might not even see yourself on the right side. You might look like a so-called white person. You might be a so-called, Irish person, so-called Italian. Our people have been scattered heavily in those different lands, really throughout the whole planet. So, of course, we're not going to put every single thing, but this is the standard. This is the, I'm going to just say that. This is the standard. All right. So, with that, I'm going to go to Zebulun, the tribe of Zebulun. All right. Which is Z.A.N in the ancient Hebrew. All right. Which means dwelling. Well, I'm going to get to it. All right. So, I'm a little under the weather as well. 13:13. It says, Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea, and he shall be for an haven of ships, and his border shall be unto Z.A.N. All right, in the NLT it says, Zebulun will settle by the seashore and will be a harbor for ships, and his borders will extend to Z.A.N. So, and first and foremost, that's not talking about in the ancient world, what I just read. Because when you read verse 1, Genesis 49:1, and Jacob called unto his sons and said, gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. So this is everything that you read about these tribes in Genesis 49 is a future prophecy. It's not something that happened already. Okay. Jacob, told all his sons what was going to happen to their descendants, in the last days, because each of his sons, minus Dan, but outside of Dan, all 12 of his sons, became their own tribe, and each tribe is likened unto his own nation. So, the scripture says Israel is as the sand of the sea and the stars of heaven, which cannot be numbered. Each of the 12 tribes is like its own race of people, but we're all the same people, though. All right. So I'm gonna jump back down to 13. It says, Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea, and he shall be for an haven of ships, and his border shall be unto Z.A.N, which Z.A.N was a Hamite. It was a city by the sea. All right, which I think it was big into import export, but that's not literal. That's basically just saying they're gonna be by the sea. So when you go to an ancient map, I'm going to get to this Panama Canal, because who are the so-called Zebulunites? They're the so-called, Guatemalans and Panamanians, all right? And shalom to the brother Kashakwala. He's the one who put this diagram together, all right? Oh, also, I forgot to say shalom to Elder Gamal Allah. He's the one who came up with that acronym Z.A.N, all right? Because it's easy to forget, where those three tribes are. But once you learn that acronym, that's the order in which the tribes are. All right, so just to show you, you got Z, which is the blue box, that's Zebulun. You got A with the red arrows, which is Asher. And then at the bottom you got the pink box, which is Argentina to Chile, which is Naphtali. All right, so that's a good way to remember. You see the order. See Z, Z.A.N. That's a good order. I mean, that's a good way to remember the order of where those tribes are located. Just throwing that out there. Didn't mean to do that. Damn it. It's a lot good. But I should still have it. I think this is it. Excuse me. So when you go to an ancient map of ancient Israel and you see the tribe of Zebulun where they were situated, they weren't by the sea. They weren't by the seashore. They didn't settle by the seashore, and they're not in the Sea of Galilee. All right, which that's the sea that Yahushua walked on. All right, and Peter did too. But that's that same Sea of Galilee. All right. So which it connects to the River Jordan. All right. But yeah, that's how what I'm reading is a future prophecy for today. So if that's not where they are today, where is the tribe of Zebulun? Well, they gave us a clue. They're a haven of ships. All right. So through the Spirit, we believe it's the Panama Canal, because ultimately this is all through faith anyway. But only the elect is going to be able to pick up on the spiritual puzzle pieces. And be like, oh, like that makes sense. Have an epiphany. All right. We believe Zebulun is Guatemala to Panama. One piece of evidence, based on that clue, that spiritual clue, is the Panama Canal, as you can see here, which it runs all the way through there. You got the Atlantic Sea, where it says Caribbean Sea. All right. It goes in from Lemon Bay, and it goes all the way down. It connects the Pacific to the Atlantic. All right. All right. That's another, another map showing it. You can see, specifications. All right. It says opened in 1914. Expansion opened June 26, 2016. Principal engineer. Construction began 1881. It was finished in 1914, and it was extended in 2016. And I'm not gonna go super deep into the history of this, but I'll say this. Esau, Edom, which is the so-called white race, the Edomites, they're the wicked that the Bible speaks of, and because of them, I believe it was Theodore Roosevelt, I think, or it was one of them. It was one of them Roosevelts, but basically, he was the one who commissioned the construction, or at least he oversaw the construction of it, and thousands upon thousands of so-called Guatemalans. Let's look at some of those countries, because thousands of these people died in that construction. They also brought even some Judites over there too, so-called Negroes. They brought them over there too. Where is it? Panama. All right, so I was looking up some other information. I'm gonna look this up. Central and South America map, because I wanted to make a point. I just want to get the countries that consist of Zebulun, because it's not just Panama. All right, but that's like the main focus because of that prophecy I just read. So thousands upon thousands of Guatemalans, people from Belize, people from Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaraguans, Costa Ricans, thousands upon thousands of them died in the construction of that canal. All right. And I believe it's another scripture that goes into that. But for the sake of time, I'm gonna just leave it at that. So they're a haven of ships. All right. So I got that out the way. These are who these people are today. All right, the Israelites, the true Israelites, not those people in the land right now claiming to be us. All right, those small hats. They're not the people. Okay, they were placed in that land in 1948. They're not the true people. You know, the Balfour Declaration. That's not how the scripture says the Israelites will get back in the land. All right, Yahweh Shai is going to come back in what the world ignorantly calls UFOs. He's going to gather his elect, and he's going to bring us back to our land. Not some Balfour Declaration, all right? So I'm going to get the tribe of Asher now. Oh, yeah, I also wanted to get what Zebulun means. I'll get that real quick. Hold up. Zebulun. Zebulun. It says Genesis 30:20, and Leah said, "The Most High hath endued me with a good dowry. Now will my husband dwell with me, because I have borne him 6 sons." And she called his name Zebulun. You know, dwelling. All right, because she said, "Now will my husband dwell with me." But that name was twofold, because she named him that because of that, but it also because his dwelling shall be at the haven of the ships. That's how you know where Zebulun is, because in the last days they're going to be by the ships. And, you know, the Panama Canal, that's one of the top, you know, one of the top waterways where ships, you know, traverse. All right, I'm about to sit down, Salakia. Oh. All right, so now I'm going to go to Asher. I'm going to get verse 20. And like I said, I'm not going super deep. I'm going to just try to get through this. Genesis 49:20. All right, it says, out of Asher his bread shall be fat, and he shall yield royal dainties. And in the NLT it says, Asher will dine on rich foods and produce food fit for kings. So where Asher is going to dwell at is going to be a very fruitful land, you know, a very fertile, and you know, agriculturally they're gonna you know, produce. It said that, you know, it says Asher will dine on rich foods and produce food fit for kings in the NLT. The key word is produce. You know, the tribe of Asher, where they're gonna dwell at in the last days, is going to produce a lot of agriculture. So going back to that diagram, you see the tribe of Asher is Colombia to Uruguay. You know, all these countries, you know, where those arrows are. You know, Bolivia, Peru, Paraguay, Uruguay, of course Brazil, you know, and all those other countries. That's the tribe of Asher. And you know, they're one of the top producers of agriculture on the planet. I'm gonna get some information. Oh, I forgot to get this as well. I mean, that's pretty. You could read that for yourself. You know, pause the video. So I'm gonna get Brazil and neighbors facts. So it says Brazil, largest country in South America and 5th largest in the world, home to the Amazon rainforest, the world's largest tropical rainforest. And there's a lot of farmland out there too. All right. It says Portuguese is the only official language in South America. Uh, I think they meant I think they meant in Brazil, because Portuguese definitely isn't the only official language. That's kind of, yeah. Chat be bugging sometimes. It says famous for carnival, football, and samba music. Massive diversity in ecosystems, people, and culture, because that's part of them being fruitful. You know. I'm gonna deal with that first. All right, because fatness represents wealth, and they have a lot of wealth because they have land. It also said his foot shall be dipped in oil, right? Oh wait, I'm jumping the gun. Salaki, I'm jumping the gun. But it said his bread shall be fat, and he shall yield royal dainties. I said speak on a few words on agriculture in the region, mainly on Brazil. It says Brazil, one of the world's top agricultural exporters, leading producer of soybeans, sugarcane, coffee beans. It's like a coffee, which come from coffee beans. It says beef and corn. The Cerrado, or I believe it's Cerrado, the Cerrado region has become a key area for large-scale farming. It says agribusiness is both highly productive and controversial due to deforestation, especially in the Amazon. And that's why it says in Isaiah 14, when Esau is taken down, Lucifer, which is the wicked elites of Esau, the fir trees, even the trees are going to rejoice. All right, and that's literal, but it also is going into the nations of people as well. Men are also known as trees in the Bible. All right, in certain areas. It says regional highlights: Argentina, major soy and beef exporter with fertile pampas grasslands. Paraguay and Uruguay, key players in beef and soybean production. Colombia and Peru, known for coffee, cacao, fruit, and crops. More mountainous and diverse in microclimates. So there you go. His bread shall be fat. He shall yield royal dainties. That's what that's talking about. Brazil produces a lot of food for the whole world. All right. Now, I'm gonna get this precept going into the oil, because they also have oil. This is how you know this is a tribe of Asher. All right, I'm gonna get Deuteronomy 33 and verse 24. And again, excuse me if I'm constantly coughing and my voice sounds weird. I'm under the weather, man. My throat is kind of sore, So Salakia. This is Deuteronomy 33 and 24. It says, in the land of Asher, he said, let Asher be blessed with children. Let him be acceptable to his brethren, and let him dip his foot in oil. And when it says, dealing with the first part where it says, let him be blessed with children, this is massive. This is Brazil in particular, but these are all the tribe of Asher, all these countries. But it says massive diversity in ecosystems, people, and culture. He shall be blessed with children. All right, the population is huge. All right, population of all these. Oh my goodness. Edit for all these countries. He shall be blessed with children. Keep that in mind. Like, that's a whole lot of people. That's all the tribe of Asher. Well, not every lot. You know what I mean. You know. So that's it on that. Now I'm gonna deal with the second part where it says let him dip his foot in oil. What is that talking about? This is further proof of where Asher would be. I looked up how does Brazil fare in oil production. This is key facts on Brazil's oil production. Mount outpost. It says mid 2025. In May 2025, Brazil received a record monthly oil output of approximately 3.679 million barrels per day, making a 10.9% rise over May 2024. Production has been steadily increasing. February saw, there you go. So that's what that's going into, where it says his foot shall be dipped in oil. Brazil is one of the top oil producers on the planet. So there you go. That's the tribe of Asher. I'm going to get Naphtali, last but not least. Right. Genesis 49, verse 21. All right. It says Naphtali is a hind let loose. He giveth goodly words. All right. He giveth goodly words. So Naphtali is a hind let loose. All right. So basically what that's going into, going back to the map, Naphtali is Argentina and Chile. All right. So what does it mean by he's a hind let loose? All right. Well, let's go into it. I looked up Argentina and Chile facts, or Chile. So I'm gonna read a little bit on Argentina. 8th largest country in the world. Argentina is the largest Spanish-speaking country by land area, and 8th largest in the world. Birthplace of tango, which is a dance originated in Buenos Aires. Home to Patagonia. Southern Argentina contains Patagonia, a stunning region with glaciers, mountains, and wildlife. Famous for beef, Argentina is one of the world's top beef producers, and its traditional asado is culturally iconic. All right, yeah, that devil Pope Francis. Yep. Malbec wine leader. Argentina is a top producer of Malbec wine, especially from the Mendoza region. And that's one thing about Argentina, Chile, and a lot of other South American countries. They got very good wine. That brother Ana, he made a good point on the lesson that he did some years ago. Going into these tribes, you can learn a lot. You can learn about new wines, all right, new foods, okay, new words. Just going into these tribes. These are our people. So Chile, a few things on Chile. The world's largest north-south country. North-south country. Chile stretches over 4,300 kilometers. From north to south, but is very narrow east to west. And that goes into prophecy. That goes into the next one. east to west. Or, I mean, really south. Salaki, I'm thinking about south. Let me just keep reading. I'm going to read a little bit more. I said, tell me a short list of the most notable cultural facts of the two countries. There you go. Here we go. That's what I want. Gaucho heritage. Because it said Naphtali is a hind let loose. All right, a hind is a deer, and when you look at a deer, they're very, wild, and they're very fast. So why is Naphtali known as a hind let loose? All right, well, there's something called the Gauchos, and this is why. Let me look it up. Gaucho heritage. This is why it says that. All right, Gaucho heritage refers to the culture and traditions of the Gauchos, nomadic horsemen and cattle herders of the Argentine and Uruguayan pampas. Also Chile, if I'm not mistaken. But you could go into it. Let me get some images. They got garments on, They got ancient garments. See, that's a man of Naphtali right there. Okay, that's an Israelite. Look, he looks like he's from the ancient world. You see? These are our people. They got the ancient garments. But this is why it says they're a hind let loose. And there's another aspect I'm gonna go into as well. But they're on horse, These are horsemen. These are men that have skill, that are skillful when it comes to, dealing with horses. They're basically cowboys, And look, hey, you can't make it up. This is how you know these are the Israelites. That's an ancient garment, But another aspect of why is soccer obsession. It says football is a national religion. Diego Maradona and Lionel Messi are icons. All right, Chile cultural highlights, poetry legacy. That's why it said, let me go back to it. Naphtali is a hind let loose. He giveth goodly words. A big part of the culture of Chile, Chile and Argentina is poetry. It says poetry legacy, birthplace of noble prize-winning poets Pablo Neruda and Gabriel Mistral. Okay, that's the goodly words. Of the two, what can you tell me of football? Because the hind let loose. World Cup titles, winners. This is for Argentina's 1978, 1986, and 2022. Legendary players, of course. You got Messi, you got Diego Maradona. Okay, that's what's going into hind let loose as well. Chile, winners 2015, 2016. Star players Alex Sanchez, Arturo Vidal, Claudio Bravo. Fan culture, passionate and loyal supporters. Summary: Argentina is a football superpower with deep legacy of global success. Global, all right? He's a hind let loose. Chile is a strong regional contender, especially for its recent Copa America triumphs and resilient high-energy playing style. So last but not least, I'll end off Deuteronomy 33. I'm going to just do this. Hold up. Again, I'm not going super deep. I'm not going super in-depth in this one. Deuteronomy 33 and 23. And of Naphtali, he said, O Naphtali, satisfied with favor and full of the blessing of the Lord, possess thou the west and the south. So that's another clue of to who that tribe is. It says, possess thou the west and the south. When you go to an ancient map of where that tribe of people was situated, where you see where Naphtali is, that's the north. This is Israel. All right, this is ancient Israel. Naphtali is at the top. That's the north. So that what I just read, that's a prophecy of the last days that Moses gave. So in modern times, when you look at Argentina and Chile, look at where they're situated, the west and the south. At the very bottom of South America. That's how you know that's the tribe of Naphtali. So that's pretty much it. You know, Lord, this lesson was edifying. Once again, giving our praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Chakurash, Shalom.